Welcome, Age of Vintage Society. Carol Lynley emerged as a young star in the late 1950s, when Hollywood was becoming aware of the growing teen audience who identified with new actors such as Lynley, Sandra Dee, Tuesday Weld and Sue Lyon, who all played similar coming-of-age roles. Do you remember Carol Lynley, the Coca-Cola girl? Make sure to watch the video until the end and leave your thoughts in the comments. If you are new here, join our wonderful community by subscribing to the Age of Vintage channel. Blonde, blue-eyed and with an attractively feline appeal, Carol Lynley began her professional career as Carolyn Lee. She learned ballet at the age of 7, became a successful child model at the age of 10, eventually working for the Sears and Roebuck department store in New York, and got her face nationally recognised as the Coca-Cola girl. Carol Lynley was a child model who made the cover of Life magazine at 15 and was whipping up controversy on Broadway at 16, but is probably best known in the UK as one of the stars of the Poseidon Adventure, which arguably kicked off the fashion for all-star disaster movies in the 1970s. The sinking ship drama, in which she co-starred with Gene Hackman and Shelley Winters, was a huge hit. Director Ronald Neame, who also made The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie, once told me that he made more money from it than every other film put together, and he had started off in the silent era. But for Lynley, who was in her 30s by then, it was to be her career high point. In the film she played the cruise liner's singer Nonnie Parry. Her character sings the Oscar-winning song the morning after, at the New Year celebrations when the ship is capsized by a tsunami. But while Lynley's character sang it on screen, it was actually dubbed by René Armand on the soundtrack. Since she was a child, the beautiful Carol Lynley graced television and movie screens from 1956 until 2002. She successfully progressed from child model to teenage idol to ingenue in such hit films as The Light in the Forest, Blue Denim, Return to Peyton Place and Under the Yum Yum Tree. Then her cool beauty was put to perfect use as the bewildered, blank-faced mother searching for a missing daughter who may or may not exist in the cult mystery thriller Bunny Lake is Missing. This propelled Lynley to adult leads where she excelled playing the lady in peril, culminating with her most famous role as a terrified pop singer. Carol was born Carol Ann Jones in New York City to Francis Fuller Felch from New England and Cyril Rowland Jones, who was an Irish immigrant. At age 15 she forayed into and discovered there was already an actress going by the name of Carolyn Lee, so she fused the names Lynn and Lee to come up with the last name Lynley. Her first break came when she was cast in the Disney film The Light in the Forest in 1958, after Walt Disney saw her on April 22, 1957 cover of Life magazine. She played the indentured servant girl Shenandoah. She was cast in ingenue parts in 3 pictures in 1959, opposite 3 of their promising young male stars, Brandon DeWilde in Blue Denim, Gary Crosby in Holiday for Lovers, and Fabian in Hound Dog Man. It was a promising start. A New York Times reviewer praised her performance, alongside that of fellow screen newbie James MacArthur, describing both as real charmers with more than their share of talent. Thrust once more into the limelight, Lynley reprised her earlier Broadway role in the film version of Blue Denim as a naive girl who becomes pregnant and faces the dilemma of confronting her father or having an illegal abortion. This performance got her nominated for a Golden Globe Award as Most Promising Newcomer in 1959. That same year she graduated with a diploma from New York School for Young Professionals. Lynley went on to play other ingenues and troubled teens before gradually shedding her wholesome image by the early 60s. She made the cover of magazines such as Cosmopolitan, Life and 17, as well as doing TV commercials for hair dye and toothpaste. She had also begun making guest star appearances in television series, starting with Alfred Hitchcock Presents, in an episode directed by Robert Altman, The Young One, in which she played a rebellious girl who will do anything to escape being raised by her domineering aunt. The studio began to give her more mature roles, such as the female lead in Return to Peyton Place, as the author of the scandalous novel who is in love with her married publisher, Jeff Chandler. The rather lame sequel to Peyton Place did not do much to boost her career. Wherever she appeared, Lynley made an impression. Blonde, blue-eyed and stunningly beautiful, she brought a subtle grace and a cat-like elegance to every role. Those hypnotically piercing baby blues gave Lynley one of the most penetrating stares in the business. She exuded intelligence and class. We've always been taken with Carol Lynley for many other roles along her diverse career. Among the things we never knew, she has a passion for food, especially coffee ice cream, but she usually has enough willpower to say no. She likes to walk barefooted, especially in the summer, and often sheds her shoes at home and in the country. Lynley managed to show acting range despite rather limited parts, such as a rival to Joan Woodward in the title role of the stripper, the reluctant target of a lecherous landlord, Jack Lemmon, in Under the Yum Yum Tree, and a psychiatric patient in Shock Treatment, all in 1963. She was well cast as the blonde bombshell star Jean Harlow in Harlow, a cheaply made biopic which got the better of the glossier Paramount production starring Carol Baker, released at the same time with the same title and subject. The New York Times called Lynley's Harlow anything but alluring and noted the picture took 8 days for filming, the last 2 due to inclement weather. It didn't rain long enough. Lynley was 30 when she played her best-known role as the vulnerable young singer in 1972's The Poseidon Adventure, still looking every bit the young innocent whose very name conjures up visions of ice cream sodas and saddle shoes. Dressed in an orange top and hot pants, Lynley spends much of the movie clinging to the wreck, which was mostly shot on a sound stage inside a huge tank. It was the most physically demanding role you can possibly imagine, she recalled. We had to swim underwater, climb across tiny catwalks, walk over flames. They hosed us down at least 20 times a day, and there were no safety precautions for the first 2 weeks of shooting. I'd be up there on the catwalk, and if I slipped, it was 6 stories straight down, through flames to a concrete floor. I went through 10 or 15 pairs of shorts because they kept shrinking. Then there were wholesome date layouts with co-stars James MacArthur and Brandon DeWilde, followed by the inevitable I want to get married. Carol Lynley is not a career woman. Her goal is marriage and a house full of children. I don't want to be an imitation of life. Lynley, however, failed to follow the studio's prescribed formula of yearn for love but wait as long as possible to find it. Instead, only 18, she eloped with a publicist, Mike Selzman. She has been terrorised on screen by everything from psychotic relatives to werewolves and the Blob, from murderous convicts to rampaging beasts and sinking upside-down ocean liners. Most fans of these genres do not realise how prolific Carol was, going from theatrical features to made-for-TV movies to television guest appearances and back again for over 30 years. No sooner had the Hollywood media machine adjusted, picturing a contented wife and mother who put her career in the background and happily performed the everyday work of a wife, than Lynley threw another wrench into the works. She resumed her pursuit of stardom, at times prickly and demanding. Carol Lynley is uppity indeed. She's refused to star opposite Fabian. Then she walked out on Selzman, who promptly rushed into divorce court, making bitter and sensational charges and seeking custody of their baby daughter. An item in Hedda Hopper's monthly gossip column added detail, with her breed's masterful ability to deliver both specificity and ambiguity. Carol Lynley's tracking down the source of those ugly rumours being spread about her. She doesn't have to look far. One of the wildest was that she was breaking up the marriage between a top actress and her husband. A dame called me from Chicago to tip me off, so I called Carol. "Don't I have enough troubles over my divorce without this?" she said. "It's happened before. When she made The Cardinal, she was supposed to be romancing director Otto Preminger, also a married man. Somebody's out to do Carol dirt. I wonder why." Preminger was actually subpoenaed, but Selzman and Lynley managed to work out a deal before the divorce came to trial. Yet, if the dirty laundry was not to be aired publicly, there was still plenty of private laundering to do. Carol lost £10 and admitted, "Inside I'm a seething, steaming mass of emotional jelly." In salvage mode, the fan mags were forced to adjust their previous accounts of Lynley's background to explain away an ill-advised marriage and its messy dissolution. Earlier articles had emphasised that melodramatic exaggerations about their hardships is something Carol and her mother hate. Instead, Lynley, who began modelling and acting professionally when she was 10, had claimed, "A very normal life when I haven't been actually working, with good friends, dates, with boys who aren't names, and marvellous summers with her grandmother in Massachusetts." Revisionist stories, however, pose the question, what turns a lovely girl into a human volcano, and pointed to her childhood for the answers. In the updated version of Lynley's history, her struggling single-parent family moved around a lot when she was a child, usually from one drab New York flat to another. Her teen years were both friendless, when I meet other teenagers I just don't know what to say, and dateless. Dates? I don't have any dates. Despite gossip column notices as early as 1958 that teenage Carol has started to go places and the stag line is forming fast, went so far as to claim she never even had a date until she was 18. With Lynley's abrupt transition into scandal-tinged adulthood, she graduated from shy ingenue to up-and-coming love goddess, touted as a next Liz Taylor and compared to such legends as Garbo, Dietrich and Turner. Today she is every inch the screen queen her new career status demands, complete with exquisite wardrobe, expensive jewellery, Jaguar sports car and a beaver coat trimmed in mink. Despite posing for Playboy in 1965, Lynley never managed the transformation. Perhaps Lynley's most prestigious film was the mystery thriller Bunny Lake is Missing, one of Otto Preminger's better late films. As an American single mother in London, whose 4-year-old daughter has disappeared from her nursery school, Lynley held her own among an excellent British cast that included Laurence Olivier, Noel Coward and Anna Massey. In the same year, Lynley posed nude for Playboy magazine and began a relationship with the broadcaster David Frost. Despite the decline of her film career in the 1970s and 80s when she was forced to appear in shoestring straight-to-video movies, Lynley continued to get work in TV series such as Kojak, The Love Boat and Fantasy Island. Let's end on this fantastic quote from the woman herself. "I've never been in a scandal. I've never been caught running naked down a highway. I've not tried to shoot anybody. Nobody's ever tried to shoot me. My child is legitimate. I've never been to Betty Ford. No porn, no drug addictions. I've outlived 3 of my doctors. So if you're going to write a juicy book, I've got a problem." She retired from the screen in 2006, a highly capable actress who should have made a bigger splash in Hollywood. She passed away on September 3, 2019 in Pacific Palisades, California, from a heart attack at the age of 77. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new here, and if you want to support my work, please visit my Patreon page. Now it is your turn. What do you think about the life and legacy of Carol Lynley? She may have avoided scandal with aplomb, but she certainly left an indelible mark on stage and on screen through her performances.